Hey y'all, I don't know if you can hear the fireworks outside right now. They're going wild in my neighborhood. But happy 4th of July to you, whether this is the day of and you're watching this or it's the day after or any time after. Happy Independence Day to those who celebrate it. And let's talk about it a little bit. So the 4th of July versus Juneteenth debate. It's something that's been going on. It's a complex topic. These things that I'm going to speak on are only my thoughts. Okay. I'm not broadcasting anything I say here as the gospel or the Bible. I'm not the official global historian. So if I say something that's wrong, just let me know in the comment section, because I welcome engaging, friendly discourse about these topics, not disrespect. So please come correct. A comment from someone today sparked this desire to make this video. I was in a exchange with a person, and after giving them, happy 4th of July greetings, they replied that they actually don't acknowledge the 4th of July at all. Honestly, I didn't even ask them why, because it's nothing new for me to hear that. But some people may argue that the 2 days, Juneteenth and Independence Day, aren't comparable at all, while others may say one is for them and the other is for us. There are even more people or others in the top of that who, as African Americans, refuse to even acknowledge Independence Day entirely. And I understand these points, and I have another one to add. Both days are actually intertwined and vital to American history, particularly for African Americans' understanding and positionality in this country. One thing is that the 4th of July celebrates the 13 colonies' independence from Britain that would be declared in 1776 and create the actual founding of the United States through the Declaration of Independence and the Revolutionary War. This fight was portrayed to us, I think, in school originally as an escape from the British Crown's oppressive rule, especially its taxation, restrictions on self-governance, and military occupation of the colonies. However, for 150 years prior to that declaration, Africans, our ancestors, were enslaved, fueling this new land's economy. And this continued essentially throughout that war, the Revolutionary War, and then for 90 more years thereafter. Now, interestingly enough, just a few years prior to the Declaration of Independence, a British High Court judge declared slavery so odious that it could not exist at common law in Britain. And so when he said that, that ruling implied that slavery was contrary to natural law and to the English Constitution, alarming slaveholders all the way back here in America, back in these colonies. So to preserve slavery, the southern colonies somewhat joined forces with the Northern Rebellion against England. And John Adams even promised Southern leaders the right to maintain slavery during the First Continental Congress. So the fight for independence in a small part included a motivation to ensure slavery's continuation in the American colonies. Hearing that right off the bat, you might have a reaction. The Declaration of Independence itself, which proclaimed all men are created equal, on top of that, also starkly contrasted with our ancestors' reality of being declared enslaved property that couldn't and wouldn't enjoy such rights for at least another 100 years. And so some African Americans today argue that we still don't fully enjoy such consideration. And that's not a lie. So, should we, as Black Americans, celebrate this day? The Declaration of Independence established the reasoning for separation from Britain and laid out the nation's intentions and ideals. Although it is not a legally binding document today, it holds immense moral and visionary power, influencing everything following its creation to build the nation. Our fight for justice aligns with the Declaration's ideals. So, do we believe these independent ideals should extend to us? Do we actually believe that they should extend to us? Should we uplift them as Americans in our ongoing fight for justice? I think so. Unless you're planning to renounce your citizenship, of course. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that many marginalized groups, including us, have drawn strength from the Declaration's key phrases to substantiate our demands of civil rights and repair. The Declaration of Independence can be celebrated or seen as a moral framework for America that supports our demands of America. However, acknowledging the progress made doesn't mean everything is as it should be. The nation still falls short of the reparative actions necessary and needed to heal and move forward. Slavery was America's greatest sin, a stain on its psyche. Lincoln's opposition to slavery led to the Southern states' secession and then eventually the Civil War. Slavery's legacy continues to haunt us, and Civil War followed the independence, highlighting the country's internal struggles, as you know. So here we are, yet America's independence set the stage for it to become a nation where freed slaves could thrive, right? Juneteenth, as observed by descendants of American chattel slavery such as myself, celebrates the emancipation of our ancestors and our continued relative freedom in America. And for all other Americans, Juneteenth is a day that she, America, gave up the most inhumane and sinful act committed against its own people. So, we also remember on this day, as all Americans outside of those who are descendants of American slavery, we also must remember and celebrate the end of slavery and press for reparative justice for those who are the descendants of who were enslaved. Now, as I said about progress, despite progress, heartache really still remains because America's foundation was built on slavery and continued brutality that came following slavery, and it has still not been atoned for. The United States would not be where it is today without slavery, and that includes her ability to fight off Britain and continue to build this nation with such excruciating and exacting audacity that we are now more influential on Britain than Britain is on us. So then, I might believe that this nation's very independence was powered by our own enslavement. The United States of America was the first independent, foreign recognized nation in the Americas and the first British colonial entity to break away from the kingdom under its own force. That makes this day even more twisted for some African Americans. So, yeah, if someone chooses not to celebrate the 4th of July for those reasons, I understand. But what are we doing to push for the atonement that is overdue so that we can truly, equitably, and fairly move forward as one nation under God? Are you part of the solution Or are you just a passive protester of a holiday? It's our responsibility to advocate for justice, and we are carrying the baton that was handed to us. Change is possible. America knows how. America is the king of change. Okay? We just have to show this society, this country, that we're still serious, just as we did in the 60s. And while we cannot change the past, we can atone for it in the future. The 4th of July is a day, and it's a day where I'll celebrate the fruits of Juneteenth, which is my freedom as a descendant of American chattel slavery, acknowledging my and our survival through chattel slavery, while still understanding that the promised land that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of is still ahead if we use Independence Day as a reminder of the Declaration's vision for all Americans, especially us. And most importantly, most of y'all who are offered today off are still taking the day off work anyway. So don't be half-stepping. Continue your protest by joining an advocacy group and holding America accountable, ensuring this holiday becomes an Independence Day for all. So, with that, I wish you a happy 4th. Let me know if you celebrate or if you don't, and why or why not. And no fireworks.